Hello, this is Judge Jules Edwards of the 15th Judicial District Court, and I want to share with you a little information about video conferencing for your court hearing. First of all, let's talk about where you can find this information. All right, so we have a website, 15thjdc.org, 15thjdc.org, and on that website, you will find information about our Phase 1 order, which describes what we are doing now that our courthouses are open again. As you know, our courthouses have been closed since March 13th, when the governor issued the stay-at-home order. During that intervening time, our offices have been open, and we have been continuing to work, and we've been conducting a lot of hearings using video conferencing. And those have been mostly for emergency matters and matters that require a prompt hearing. But frankly, that experience has caused us to recognize the value of video conferencing. And so we will be handling most of the civil matters by video conferencing. Even though our courthouses are open, we need to reduce the number of people who come to our courthouses, come in our courthouses, and come in our courtrooms. As you know, the 15th Judicial District Court has courthouses in Acadia, Lafayette, and Vermilion parishes. And in each of these courthouses, we have been using this time when there's not many people in the courthouse to really do a thorough cleaning of the courthouse. And so we are well prepared to begin the process of receiving people back into our courthouses. However, with this Phase 1 order, in association with most establishments that are open to the public, we're only allowed to have 25% of the maximum occupancy in our building at any one time. And so that dramatically reduces the number of people that can come into our building. And then when you add on to that, the fact that people have to remain at least 6 feet apart, that again dramatically reduces the number of people that come into our courthouses. So when you come to our courthouses, you will not be able to enter the building unless you have a mask. All right, so you need to have a mask that covers both your nose and your mouth. Okay, and so you need to be wearing that mask at all times when you are entering the building and actually in the building. Again, so we are going to be asking that people not come into the building unless they have business in the building. We're asking people not come in to observe other proceedings. Now, if you have a special interest in a particular case, we are going to be asking you to contact that presiding judge so that some special arrangements can be made for you to come and observe. But the reality is we're going to need the space in the courtroom for the participants. So we really don't have the room to have many people just there as spectators. So again, that's why another reason why we're so encouraged by the opportunities that video conferencing presents to us. Frankly, before COVID-19, I knew very little about video conferencing, but I'm struggling to learn it as you are, and I suspect though that there is a silver lining to this. Many times we have been able, during the time that we had the stay-at-home order, we've been able to maintain social contact with others by this video conferencing. Even though we are required to be physically distant, the video conferencing allows us to be socially connected. So we're going to ask you again to stay safe, to step up and maintain that physical distance, and also remain socially connected. You know, During this time when we've been separated physically, there have been a number of emotional strains on people, but there's also been a number of consolations. And so we're asking you to think positive. And so with regard to your civil matter, I'm going to ask you to think about mediation, assistance to help you resolve your dispute by yourself without having to come to the public courthouse. You know, courts exist to help people to peacefully resolve their disputes. However, the most just resolution to your dispute will be achieved by the parties themselves. You know, when people engage in litigation, they come to the courthouse with their lawyers and they argue about their rights. And then when the judge makes the ruling, when the jury makes the ruling, they turn to the lawyer and say, "What just happened to us?" Right? But on the other hand, when you engage in civil mediation, you have an opportunity to talk about your interests and come up with creative solutions that you define as justice that could not be imposed on you, but nonetheless, you believe it's the best resolution to your case. All right, so let's talk about the video conferencing. On the website, you'll see these rules for Zoom video conferencing. So that's the generic rules that apply across the divisions of court. But some judges, I'm one of them, have decided to have more detailed rules for video conferencing. And I'll review with you my rules. But first, I'm going to go ahead and show you the um, the uh, setup for actually physically coming in the building, just so that you can compare and contrast what we're talking about. So, and I'm going to be talking about Lafayette because I have, it's where my office is, but there have been similar preparations for the courthouses in all three parishes. And so, again, when you approach the building, you're likely to encounter a law enforcement officer who will be helping direct traffic and getting people into the right place. And so there'll be tents set up outside the building where people can gather and wait until it's time for them to come into the building. They will be interrogated to see if they have COVID-19, they have symptoms of COVID-19. If they do, they won't be let into the building. There's lots of signage that around the building that will explain what the safety precautions are, as hand sanitizers dispersed throughout the building. In our elevators, we're not going to allow more than 2 people in the elevator at a time. So, you know, that will slow down the processing of people through the building. There's the designated spots where people can sit, where people can stand, so that we can maintain that physical distance. There's partitions throughout the courtroom to maintain some physical distance. There's markings on the floor which indicate where the counsel are allowed to sit on the counsel tables. There's markings on the benches which indicate where people are allowed to sit. And again, you'll see that this dispersion means that we have a much lower physical capacity to have people actually in the building. It dramatically reduces the number of people that can be in the courtroom. And when you think about the number of people that are really the participants in the court hearing, these rooms can fill up very, very quickly. Yeah, the chief has issued the phase 1 emergency order, which describes what the rules are now that our courthouses are open again. And again, this is on our website. You just click on that button and you'll be able to get this document. And We have this on the website also are these generic rules for Zoom video conferencing. And so that's available on our website. I have some more detailed rules. I've created a standing order and operating procedures for civil proceedings. We are going to be conducting the majority of our civil hearings by video conferencing. And so my staff will be able to give you this information on how to participate in video conferencing. And it gives you information about how to name your device, how to deal with those meeting invitations. It gives you detailed information on how to join a Zoom meeting. There is some information about how to prepare to be on camera. You need to make sure that there's no one behind you, so that there won't be any distractions during the hearing. Of course, you remember, just like in the courtroom, you're not allowed to make any recordings in these Zoom conferences, in these video hearings. You're not allowed to have make any recordings. There will be an opportunity for the witnesses to have an opportunity to meet with lawyers in a private meeting room. That's available with Zoom. Zoom, this video conferencing platform allows you to share your screen, as I'm sharing this document here. And so as this is how the lawyers will be presenting documents to the witnesses so that they can ask questions of the witnesses and attempt to lay a foundation for that document getting into evidence and offer that evidence into the document into evidence. So what we're going to be doing is asking the lawyers to pre-file all of the physical documentary evidence that they want to introduce during the trial. And so the way to do that is to file a document that says this is an intent to introduce evidence, and then attach to that all of the documents that you intend to introduce at trial. And then you present the documents to the witnesses, ask questions, lay the foundation, make your offering allow it into evidence, and the judge will rule, admitted to be the document, be admitted into evidence or not admitted into evidence, just as in a normal trial. The judge will make rulings on your exhibits, and in video court is the same as in the live courtroom. You have to be dressed appropriately. You have to make sure that there's no distractions. There is a description of how to schedule one of these hearings, and if you need any additional information, you can contact my staff. So we have rules and procedures to handle a video hearing. We also have rules and procedures for just setting up a video conference with the judge. So we have a document that explains what the process is, and we want to collect the information on all of the names of the people who will be participating in the conference. And we want to make sure that your devices have the right name, so the judge will be able to know who is in the waiting room, that is, and who the judge should admit into the conference from the waiting room on these video conferences. Okay, and all of our research attorneys have a process to prepare for the docket. And so the research attorney, when they are communicating with you to get the memos in, they're also going to be able to give you some information about how to schedule these video conferences, and you'll learn some information about the capacity of each of our courtrooms, and again, that'll give you a little more information about why it's important that we conduct these video conferencing hearings in the civil cases instead of having people come to court. So we are going to be asking for your patience, your participation. Again, I want you to know that this information is on our website, the 15thJDC.org, and on our homepage. There's the phase 1 order, the order for Zoom conferencing. And then each of the judges has a page as well. So you look for the judge's name, you click on the judge's name, and you'll come to each judge's page, and the staff, the research attorney, the court reporter, the administrative assistant, their emails are there, and so you can click on that to communicate with them. We also have information on our dockets. If you click on here for Division B, you'll see my calendar, and you'll get a document that lists all of the civil hearings in all 3 parishes from now through December. And so if you want to know when I'm going to be available to conduct a civil hearing in one of the 3 parishes, there it is. And so all you have to do is go to our website, and you can find information about when we are available to do what. And we want you to know that we want to help you resolve your dispute. We are here to help you resolve your dispute. We want you to think about civil mediation, and we want you to remember that although this is a new thing, we're learning new things. This is true, but there are advantages. If you are a lawyer, think about the days before coronavirus. On civil rule days, you come at 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever time the docket starts, and you have to wait hours, long time, before your matter was called up. But now that we have the video conferencing, you can schedule your matter. You and your opposing counsel can talk with one another, determine how much time you're going to need, talk to the research attorney, and let the research attorney know how much time you need. And if you'd like to be heard in the morning, or you'd like to be heard in the afternoon, and then you will receive a schedule that gives you a particular hour during the day that you can come to the video conference. So you can be in your office where it's safe. You don't have to go through the crowds to try and come to the courthouse. You have to try and find parking at the courthouse. Video conferencing will save you time and help you better represent your client. It is true you'll have to learn a little bit about the controls. We're using Zoom because the market has told us that the majority of the people are using Zoom. And so we figure that we'll save time learning the controls with one video conferencing platform, and you'll be able to use that throughout your practice and help yourself and your clients remain safe. If you want any information, 15thJDC.org. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention.